some audio. Yeah. Yes. Party people. What's up, value viewers on the late night tip? Ah, welcome to the struggle stream of the independent male. Just sitting up here looking at some goofy junk in my phone where my beloved Los Bravos were severely busted by the Mets today, but that's not what this struggle stream is going to be about, talking about baseball. Maybe that is something that we'll get into at a later point on the show with some people comment and say that they have some interest in the old b-ball baseball, particularly with the learn how to talk um, injuries to a lot of starting pitchers, man. Early in the season, the Braves, we took an L with Spencer Strider. I think Garrett Cole up in New York is out with an elbow injury. I think needs Tommy John surgery, and I think at least like three or four other starting pitchers. And for what I understand, a lot of people have been blaming the pitch clock on that situation. So we're just like 2 weeks in, so we'll see what happens with that. So try to check all this audio, make sure that we do have some testing, 1, 2, 3 going on. Do we have some music going on in the background? I can't tell. I think we do. And this music is appropriate, baby Bubba. Again, welcome value viewers. If you check it out, the independent male struggle stream, every day we struggling. Yeah, until we get good, because that's the only way you get better. Speaking of getting better, shouts out to Dear Woke Christian. Very, very good friend of the channel. Very good man. If you can see from the name of my channel, it's the Independent Male. Politically, I am an independent. However, I have plenty of friends and family on both sides of the aisle. Dear Woke Christian is one of those people. My man is on the right. However, he does not just spew things to be spewing them. And this is why I respect him. And very quickly, the reason I say this is because a lot of times my brothers and sisters on the right, if they don't like something, they immediately call it all of the isms. It's Marxism, it's socialism, it's communism. And then you ask them what these things are and then you get crickets. All right. So why do I bring this up? It's because I got this book today. Yeah, book today. It is called Color, Communism, and Common Sense. Is that what tonight's live's about? No, but I just opened it up before I went to bed earlier and it was still on the desk, and I wanted to shout it out because I am going to take a look at this and see what's in here, because actually I believe Jason from Dear Woke Christian, he was doing a live and he was talking about communism and some other things. And actually I believe what this book dives into is how elements of communism was actually tried to be influenced or somewhat forced upon the community back in the day. So I'm interested in checking that out and getting back to him. But if you're interested in politics and you also hear socialism, communism, and things thrown around a lot, and you want to know more about it, check out, especially from our community, check out Color, Communism, and Common Sense. It's by Archibald B. Roosevelt. I ordered it on Amazon. I think it was like $12 or something like that. So anyway, that's that. Hey, let me get into right quick. What can you expect by tuning in at midnight for a live? I'm not a live stream. I'm not a live stream yet. This is a struggle stream. What can you expect by tuning in on this struggle stream? Hey, what you will expect to all of my East Coast late owls and all of my West Coasters just kicking it. What you can expect is for me to come through here 3 to 4 times a week, dropping these midnight live streams. And what will be on them is always, at least for the immediate future, it's going to be an update in the Diddy Saga. Yep, I call it the Diddy Saga. You're going to get these every day, right? You're going to get some breaking news about Diddy every day, because we're just at the tip of the iceberg. We're just at the accusations and the people coming out of the closet in the woodworks right now. Okay, this man hasn't been formally charged. Nope, hadn't been formally charged, hadn't been dragged into court. See what I'm saying? None of these things are played out yet. Only thing that's going on right now is folks being like, this is what he did and show me the money. So we're gonna be here for it. And hopefully the value you get by tuning in on this live stream, if you just happen to be up doing whatever, or if you're working that third shift or whatever, shouts out to the third shift workers. You know what I'm saying? I used to do that, man, a lot. You know what I'm saying? Working lock shift companies, stuff like that. Factory work at night, whatever. You just got something playing in the background. Yo, so holla at your boy, independent male. Like I say, you're going to get daily ditties, hashtag daily ditty, hashtag did Diddy do it, hashtag Diddy did it. All right, you're going to get that every day until we see how this shake out. And also, I will be providing updates from other stories and videos and shorts I may have uploaded during the daytime or whatever. So that's what you can expect from the independent male. So again, I appreciate you if you drop by here tonight, or if you check this out on the replay. Super duper appreciate it. If you find some value in this, please, a pretty please, hit that like button. But more importantly, share it with other like-minded people that you think might appreciate this as well. So since I got into what you can expect, and I said with updates on some of the videos or shorts that I may have done earlier, as well as a Diddy update. Of course, the Diddy is the main attraction, so we're gonna get to that after update. Bring you some updates on 2 other stories I've been covering. A lot of times I like to cover stories that have to do with leadership in our community, or the communitah, as some of us like to say. And speaking of leadership, I think we're gonna bring it down here to my home state, to GA, you know, being a little bit more specific about it. We're gonna come down here to Fulton County. Let's change that up a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna come on down here to Fulton County, GA, where Fani Willis is running shop down in the Fulton County's DA's office. We already know what went down with this a little bit. You know what I mean? If you didn't know, I can recap us right quick. So I think we're gonna do that. We're gonna recap. First of all, we didn't know who it is we dealing with. Okay, so let's find out who we dealing with. We dealing with Fani Pack Willis, all right? And we didn't need to know who she is. Okay, so who is this that we are dealing with? If you're not down here in GA, if you've been under a rock somewhere, you didn't hear about all the whole Nathan Wade stuff and all that.
I said, are you kidding? I'm the best DA this county's ever had.
That's what we dealing with. Yo, we dealing with the best DA this county's ever had. Best, bro. Best, meaning that there is no one better. There are no superiors, okay? So let's take a look at what the best DA this county has ever had has been up to for the last couple of months. Let's check it out.
Georgia, who has alleged that the DA, Fani Willis, has been having a clandestine personal relationship with the special prosecutor in the case, and in turn, they say, profiting significantly from this prosecution. My question is, how big a deal is this, even if it's true?
Santana.
No, wait, let me say something.
I just knew this was gonna be a circus. That was our reaction. Yeah, I wasn't happy. I was not happy. You had one job. She did. She had one job. She had one job. Okay, let's say she had 2 jobs. All right. One was to bring 45 and his cronies to accountability for the alleged election interference, and number 2 was bringing YSL, Slime Life, and Young Thug, and all of the quote-unquote gang activity running rampant in the ATL, bringing these guys to justice. So far, none of that is happening. All that's been happening is a lot of fiasco and crazy activity. Oh, and you're like, okay, all right, well, she had a little disqualification mishap because of the alleged affair or whatever. So what do you mean all of this stuff? Okay, well, let's go 1980s and 1990s infomercial. But wait, there's more. That's not the only thing that happened. Immediately following that, the ACLU, okay, ACLU also sued her office. Why?
I said, are you kidding? I'm the best DA this county.
With that one. Not that's one of my friends. There we go. That's what we talking about. Struggle streaming. Struggling. Come on, bro. What is going on with my clips? This is not fun. There we are. This is why we call this the struggle stream. And this is also why everybody told me not to use OBS. Do not use finicky OBS. Why am I? Come on, bro. I had this like nice and running, man, and y'all making me look crazy. Y'all are making me look crazy. What is the problem? That is definitely not what I asked for. Okay, yeah. I was told. And I told that to happen a long time ago. Why is this just not? This is fantastic. All right, lesson learned. Lesson learned. Everything is completely malfunctioned. This is fantastic. Let me come back on here. This is great. Struggle streaming. I wish you guys could see my screen. Like everything is completely frozen. Why? Hell, this is entertaining. Look, this dude came online with his fake ass struggle stream. Nothing's working. Songs come in and out 3 minutes after I told him to do so. This is funny. I'm entertaining myself just sitting up here doing this. Don't have my clips. I wonder if I could just start. I would like to start this over without stopping the stream because I don't want to upload a new stream key. Gosh. Anybody,
Georgia, who is alleged that the DA Fani.
This is so weird. So weird. All right. So are you working now? All right. Well, let's see if it's going to work now.
I said, are you kidding?
No, it's
I'm
not.
investigating.
That's not the right clip. It's like that's the only clip it wants to play.
Monday's text messages are
Not that one. It's fine playing that one. So that's what it is. It just does not like that one particular clip.
I said, are you kidding?
Yeah, it liked it earlier though. Interesting. So anyway, you can take my word for it. She was later sued by the ACLU for having inmates incarcerated for longer than 45 days without actually being indicted. And of course, one of the reasons this is an issue is because there's an extreme backlog and overcrowding in Atlanta Fulton County Jail. And when you have all these hardened criminals sitting around that should be adjudicated and going down the road somewhere, then you have individuals that, let's say, may be behind on some child support or had too many to drink after the game and they had a DUI. They have to be housed with these said individuals, gang members, slime lifers, and all that other stuff. So that's the reason why that's a big deal. And the best DA that this county's ever had has this stuff going on. Now, is that the only thing that's been an issue with our office down there? No, I want to say, but wait, there's more, and then drop you this nice little clip to show you. But who knows if the clip's even gonna come out or not? I don't. Let's see.
Monday's text messages are the latest details in the sexual harassment allegations being raised by Williams' defense team. Last month, Bennett told the court that Hamilton sexually harassed her, at one point telling her that he wanted to take her out when the investigation was over. She said that the investigator had wanted to meet her alone at a restaurant to discuss the case, but that she didn't feel comfortable and ultimately brought her 2-year-old son along. On Monday, Adams asked Bennett, "Did the fact that this employee of the district attorney's office was trying to date you come into your mind as you were thinking about whether you would be coming in and testifying or not?" Yes, she responded. Bennett also testified on Monday that there were other people from Willis' office that made her uncomfortable, including Chief Deputy District Attorney Adrienne Love. She said she was
Bro, I'm sorry to stop that right there, but okay. This is a complaint that one of the witnesses in the YSL Young Thug case, she's supposed to be a witness for the prosecution, which is Fani Willis's office. And one of the attorneys for said office, Mr. Hamilton, is hitting her up about stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the case, about going on dates, about meeting her at restaurants, to the effect that she felt so uncomfortable that she wanted to bring her 2-year-old. And really, to be honest, I should have done some more research because I need to know, what does this chick look like that you having a full-fledged attorney down in the DA's office chasing around? I gotta know. But again, is it par for the course? Of course, for the leadership that's there, because what did the head get involved in? What did the lead DA get involved in? Y'all bumbling these cases, treating the office like Bumble. But let's go.
continuously harassed by members of the district attorney's office even after telling them she had nothing more to say about the alleged robbery. Williams' lawyers sought to have Love disqualified from the case last month, arguing that she made herself a witness in the case by voluntarily and continuously injecting herself into it. Last week, the judge overseeing the case agreed not to disqualify Love.
So, after they kept sweating your girl and making her uncomfortable, and then she didn't want to go for any of the advances, then they sought to have her disqualified. Talking about she tried to inject herself in the case. Yeah, my man, but you was trying to inject yourself into her. How about that? How about that? That's what's going on down in DA's Fani Willis's office. This is what's going on while she's running around in Aruba and Napa Valley with Nathan, the Playboy Wade. What? All right, but this is the best DA Fulton County's ever had. And I mean, like, and if this is the best, I don't want to know what the worst this is. I don't. But we're going to continue with this theme. We're going to continue with the theme, right? 1980s, 1990s. But wait, there's more. There's more to the infomercial. What's going on down in Fulton County's DA's office?
I'm Amy Delore for Washington Examiner, and we're getting you caught up on today's headlines in a Wex Minute. The DOJ is asking Fani Willis to fix inconsistencies in federal fund reporting. A $488,000 grant her office received in recent years has come under scrutiny. The whistleblower is accusing Willis for not using the funds for their original purpose, funding a youth center as part of Fulton County's gang prevention efforts.
Oh, gang prevention efforts, like as in the big high-profile case you're working on. You got almost $500,000 to be setting up something. What did they say? Some kind of kid stuff? Where is it? Where's the kid stuff? Let's go back and see what it was. Let me be specific. I don't want to just keep saying kid stuff. What was it she was supposed to do?
The DOJ is asking Fani Willis to fix inconsistencies in a federal fund reporting. A $488,000 grant her office received in recent years has come under scrutiny since a whistleblower is accusing Willis for not using the funds for their original purpose, funding a youth center as part of Fulton.
Yeah, youth center. Where's the youth center? Is it with Umar School? Huh? Is it with Omar School Hotel? Is that where it is? Where is it? Where is it? I'm just saying. I'm not asking. The DOJ's asking. I'm really not the one asking. The DOJ's asking. I'm just asking with them. The DOJ said.
You better yell! Show me the money! You love this black man!
I'm sorry, I had to, but that's what the DOJ said. The DOJ said they need to know where the money at. They gave you $500K for this youth center on behalf of trying to fight and combat gang activity before it happens. I get it. Youth centers, keep them out of trouble. That way you ain't YSLing later. Got it. But where is it? Where is it? Show them the money. Hide the money, y'all. It's poor people around. See, I ain't even gonna try to put that in here because I couldn't get my other clip to play a little while ago. But you know what? I'm gonna get off of that. It was just one clip. Right? They told me, boy. They told me to stay off of this thing on OBS, StreamYard, and get you a stream deck. But I'm saying I'm struggle streaming. If that didn't happen, I couldn't label this a struggle stream. Do you know what I'm saying? You gotta know what I'm saying. Anyway, since we have getting caught up on some of this grandiose leadership in the communitah, we're gonna leave down here in the south of Fulton County, and we're gonna travel up north to Dalton, Illinois. And if anybody know what Dalton, Illinois is, you know where I'm going, and you know who I'm talking about. It's the city girl super mayor Tiffany Henyard that got put on the map by PBL. I always have to shout out PBL anytime I say Tiffany Henyard, because is everybody on YouTube making a Tiffany City Girl Super Mayor Henyard video? Yes, because she's always doing something and she's very defiant about it. And she's also somebody else that's got money just leaking all over the place and I want to be accountable for it. But I always have to shout out Pink Book Lessons. That's who I'm referring to when I say PBL. Because man, she was on this lady maybe back last June and July, yo, like almost a year ago. Like I almost think Pink Book Lesson might be the reason this lady got blown up so severely. And their local Channel 7, I think, news was killing her a lot too. But anyway, we're gonna travel on up to Dalton, Illinois, and see what's going on up there. Yesterday, or not yesterday, the day before yesterday, on the live stream, we broke how the good old Village people had brought in Miss Lori Lightfoot. They brought in Miss Lori Lightfoot. But before we roll up there to Dalton right quick, because we were on Fani, and like I was saying, she's got these big high profile cases, and they're down here bungling them up using the office like Bumble. Let's see what was going on while she's down here messing these dang on cases up with her quote unquote disqualification with affairs and all of this other stuff. And now she got her own people running around. Let's see what's actually happening while she's dang on messing up stuff, being the best DA.
Have a good time. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. So we'll order 30 milkshakes. We'll give them out to the people, and we'll take some for ourselves. Okay? Good. Thank you very much, everybody. Hello.
This has got a great American franchise, Chick-fil-A.
It is. It's a great franchise. The owner is a great man who's a member of one of my clubs, and he's fantastic. And,
True it, Kathy?
yeah, they do very well. They're closed on Sunday.
The Lord's Chicken.
That's the Lord's Chicken. You're right. It's good chicken, too.
It's the Lord's Chicken.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Chicken for the Lord.
Hello, everybody. Get ready for a milkshake. You got.
Get ready for milkshake. Yo, while your girl up here down here effing this case up, your boy chilling, ordering milkshakes for everybody. Going to fundraisers. Good job, Fani. All right, like I was saying, now we're going to travel up to Dalton, Illinois, see what old Miss Henyard is up to, especially after they got Lightfoot on her. Yeah, let's see. I think she had a little incident up here, and maybe not even an incident. I think what's going on is she's just being standoffish as usual at some kind of town hall meeting. So let's check that out right quick. Let's go check out the super mayor. This is what the super mayor is up to. All right.
Everybody want it to continue to be a show and not really show facts as it relates to what's really going on in our township.
Well, tell us.
And here we go, another contentious night for Tiffany Henyard at the annual Thornton Township meeting. Henyard is township supervisor, but tonight she was challenged by board members and the public. She was booed loudly at several points during tonight's meeting. Henyard said it's not fair for residents to ask so many questions in the township when she says they don't ask them in other communities.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Of course. Now, see, my thing is, I'm an independent, okay? I'm not hardcore left. I'm not hardcore right, all right? So I'm not somebody that's going to go, everything is blamed on race. And I'm also not somebody that's going to go, racism don't exist, okay? I know there's a balance and both of them are right in equilibrium, okay? Every time you ask this lady anything, she used some kind of race card mechanism. She literally just said, don't come in here asking her questions when other communities don't do it. Really? Are you there? Are you there? Have you seen the type of You can't even be in the middle of America HOA and not have to answer questions. Okay, have you seen the level of accountability and scrutiny in other communities? Don't pull that. Don't pull that. Don't run around taking trips all over the place and spending everybody's money and then don't want to be asked about anything. You got your goon squad running around, aka the police force, shaking down local businesses, holding up licenses, and then when the eyes really come upon you, then you want to start playing victims and talking about don't ask me stuff when you don't ask people in the other community. The other people right here not just spending money like it's water. And even if they are, they're doing it with a little bit more discretion to where it's not so sloppy that everybody knows about it. And then when people try to tell you to cool out a little bit, you don't listen to them. Why? Because you Superman. I'm on all the billboards. My weave is $1,000. My makeup is flawless now. Don't look at them old pictures of her when she first got sworn in. Please don't. I'm not even going to start. I'm not even going to start like that because I'm not here to talk about that lady. Just here to talk about what she's doing and what she's not doing. And that's not earning the like $270-something thousand she's making in between the village of Dalton and the Thornton Township. And this is what I don't understand. Most folks try to get to $100,000 salary. This lady was making it almost times 3. Kudos and congratulations, hats off, all of that stuff for earning those positions. But then you didn't want to do the job. And then on top of not doing the job, you turned into a petty, everyday scammer. You turned into a petty, everyday scammer. And when you got called out on the scams, then you want to go holler racist. Don't do that. Because when the instances of racism actually apply, then nobody wants to hear them because of people like you. Okay? If you want to scam everybody, do the scam and then go get out of town. Go get the fuck out of town. Because guess where they want you? The fuck out of town. All right? They're bringing Lightfoot in with the kryptonite to kill all of that racism and sexism. Okay? She's a black woman about to bring your ass to justice. Okay? Get the fuck out of town. Bye. All right. Let's go on to the next topic. We know what the next topic is the topic du jour. We're getting to some Diddy Saga update, and none other than I don't know anybody better to be getting some Diddy insights than I have to say from the very professional, very capable, very accredited Eboni K Williams. Eboni K Williams stopped by Stephen A. Smith podcast yesterday or the day before yesterday, and they discussed Diddy. Regardless of what you may think about Miss Williams relationship wise and what she espoused as far as feminism and things like that, she's very professional, she's very accomplished, and she's very capable. And really, to be honest, I'm curious to see what her full-fledged opinion is on this Diddy thing, because of her background and her professionalism, but also because of her proximity to Diddy. I believe at one point she had been an attorney for Revolt TV, Revolt, which was actually sold a couple of weeks ago after the Diddy's raid went down. So I'm actually going to be checking a lot of this out along with you guys because I think it's probably about 15 minutes. And when I started to capture on it, I ran off and started doing something else. So let's check it out right quick and see how they dive into this. So hopefully this queues up with no problemos like my other stuff did. And let's check it out.
My next guest is an attorney, a former Real Housewife of New York, and the host of the podcast Holding Court with Eboni K Williams on the iHeart Network, which, by the way, is fresh off an NAACP Image Award win. Let's get that out the way first, okay? The podcast features on news, or is featured on newsmaking cases and famous faces. Please welcome the lovely Eboni K Williams. How you doing, girl? Long time no see.
Stephen A. Smith, it's been a minute. Congratulations, brother. You look amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
I appreciate
yes.
it. So do you.
Thank
you. Let's get right into it because we got a lot of stuff to get into.
Yes,
we got a lot
do.
of stuff, especially as it entails you directly and in a good way. But before we even get into that, I got to ask you right now.
Yeah.
You know about this case. We've talked about this
like
case against Sean
over
P. Diddy
there.
Combs, obviously being accused of sexual assault, sexual trafficking, engaging in other criminal activity.
Yikes.
You've seen all of this take place, all of this come in motion. What were your thoughts when you first heard about it?
Well, Stephen, I can't say I'm surprised. Unfortunately, we are still very much, as a society and as a culture, dealing with the continued reckoning, as it will, with Me Too. So we know no industry is untouched. And so there was just a matter of time before we saw more of it as it relates to hip hop. So the allegations are horrendous. We all kind of, I think, were rocked a bit in late November 2023 when we saw the original Cassie of it all, which really started what became a snowball of what we've seen thus far. There's at least 6 current litigation spaces in which he's named, and the most recent being where he's a named defendant, not accused of sex assault, but of aiding and abetting the sex assault of allegedly his son. We're talking about Christian Combs.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's sad, it's heavy. Of course, all allegations at this point, he's not been convicted of anything. In fact, he's not been criminally charged
That's right.
of anything.
And
I
what
think
are we
that's
to make
important.
of that? What do we make about the fact that it's been going on for weeks now? We've seen Homeland Security raid his homes in both Miami and Los Angeles, but no arrest has taken place because of your legal mind, your legal expertise. What do you make about the fact that no charges have been leveled against him as of yet?
I'm glad they asked that question, because since I've been covering this as a YouTube person from an apartment, a lot of times in the comment section, I've seen repeatedly a lot of comments that say something about, like, why are so many people making a big deal about this? Diddy hadn't even been charged yet. Diddy hadn't even been charged yet. Diddy ain't even been charged to anything. Diddy hadn't been charged to anything. So I'm glad they're bringing this up, because I'm like, what is she gonna make about this fact that he hasn't been charged yet? Because from what I understand, a lot of times these high profile things like this, everybody starts snooping around before the actual charges come out. So I don't understand why everybody keeps doing the whole he hasn't been charged yet, because once he is charged, then what?
I don't make much of it, Stephen. The feds are fetting. That's what that tells me. The federal government is. We've been aware for weeks. I assure you, this has been going on for months in terms of the investigation. Months of collecting evidence, getting witnesses to collaborate particular stories and testimonies. What we're seeing now are kind of probably the final stages of what this investigation looks like. We know the recent. You're talking about the home, and I want to get back to the Homeland Security piece, not the FBI.
That's right.
All federal agencies, but they're a little different. I want to spend some time there in a second, put a pin in it.
Right.
But the fact that they specifically, Stephen A., recently collected cell phones, other electronic devices, that's kind of the end of the road, as we say. Those are going to be the final pieces that they're looking to corroborate, probably some pre-existing testimonials for I would imagine, a long list of potential witnesses.
Let's go there.
I'm sorry, a long list. A long list. I'm just saying, if you're watching this, Diddy did something to you, better get down. Get on that list. Just saying.
For a second, when we talk about Homeland Security, the difference between local PD, FBI, Homeland Security, what are we to make of the fact that Homeland Security is the one that raided these homes as opposed to the FBI or local police?
That part is...
Because if I'm not mistaken, the FBI BI raided Epstein, and Homeland Security raided Diddy. And for what I saw previously to this particular interview, people were saying that it was because it may be due to the fact that some of Diddy's alleged activities, whether it be the quote unquote trafficking aspect or even weapons, may have taken place outside of the U.S. border. But I don't know. That's just what I heard in another video.
Fascinating to me. Now that's where I'm interested, really interested, because normally we would see sex trafficking, racketeering. It sounds a lot like recently what we saw with R. Kelly. It sounds like other things we've seen in the headlines. The fact that it's not the FBI and it's Homeland Security. Homeland Security, Stephen A., is a relatively new federal division. We
came about with the Patriot Act after, of course, 9/11. And don't ask me what Patriot stands for. I used to know and now I don't remember. But it's not patriot like I'm patriotic. It's an acronym.
Just got it post 9/11. It is a direct result of 9/11. So it triggers certain things, right? It normally triggers terrorism, to be quite direct. Issues around border control, border safety. So when you think of some of these civil litigations that name puppy right now, some of them also include the illegal selling of arms, the illegal selling of drugs, in addition to the sex trafficking. So I don't want to put the cart before the horse. We don't want to do any too much speculation here, but there's something awry where they're thinking that there's something dealing with the border issue and potentially a foreign threat of some nature. It's got to be in the mix for them to go with Homeland Security.
And the one thing that comes to my mind is when we talk about sex trafficking, obviously, that's something that could be of an international variety, and obviously it entails crossing the borders, and that might be the justification
I think
as
you
to
might
why
be onto something.
Homeland Security got involved.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the case, his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, she brought against him. It was settled a day after it was filed. Is that what set all of this in motion, in your estimation?
It did. I can't help it. When you read it, I think of what my grandmother would have said: a day late and a dollar short.
I told you she an auntie.
One day.
Well, and let's kind of just name it, right? The one day says that obviously Mr. Combs and his legal team might have thought this was a bluff. And sometimes this happens when you're on the back end, meaning you're on the legal representation side of these types of lawsuits, Stephen A. Know that before somebody walks that lawsuit and gets it filed in the clerk of court, there have been numerous what we call pre-litigation conversations. Lawyers picking up the phone, calling your legal team. Well, do we have an opportunity to settle this? Well, I don't think so. Well, all of that led to no resolution, which is why the lawsuit was actually filed and then settled a day later. It tells me, Stephen A., that they likely thought that the lawsuit would never actually see the light of day, that there would be so much probably fear, anxiety, hesitation, that some of the, let's just say, horrendous and horribly egregious details that we all read in that very lengthy lawsuit from Cassie would never want to be exposed. The fact that there was a willingness to finally go there publicly prompted the very quick 24 hours. I don't think I've ever seen something publicly so quick, the settlement there. And yes, to answer your question, it set everything in motion. It opened the door, as we say, to now what we're seeing as a litany of civil litigation attempts.
Another woman, Joey Dickerson Neal.
Yes.
She filed a lawsuit a day before the Adult Survivors Act expired.
Yes, she
First
did.
of all, explain the Adult Survivors Act, please, and its relevance.
I can. So I just
Get Stephen A. getting this professional non-sports interview on. Explain that in its relevance. Check him out. This dang old powder blue. Go ahead, S.A. Go ahead.
Just recently stepped aside from my tenure. I served 6 years, Stephen A., on a board of directors for a wonderful organization called Safe Horizon. We are the largest victims advocacy group for services of victims of violent crime in the country. We specialize on New York. I named the organization because we were very vital in leading what became a legislative effort. So I want to be very clear. The Sexual Survivors Act is a law. It is specific to the state of New York, and it allows a look-back window of 1 year. It says that if you have been abused and you want to be able to prove that in a court of civil law, so none of this is criminal, this is civil, these are lawsuits, civil litigation remedies, you have 1 year to bring your claim. A claim that previous...
Wait a minute. So they saying that they instituted a law that they had 1 year to bring about assault claims no matter how old they were? Okay. But they only had 1 year to do it, if I'm understanding this correctly. This is fascinating. I almost need to look this up some more to get more info. But this was only in New York. Wow. See, this is why you have real attorneys and not just us that play them on not even TV. We play it on your cell phone or your tablet. Okay.
Would have not been viable due to statutes of limitations. So you could have been alleging that you were assaulted or harmed 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Well,
literally.
Dickerson Neal claims that nearly 32 years ago, the incident with her and P. Diddy Combs took place.
Let's think about, what's it, Jean Carroll, recently won her lawsuit against Trump. I think it's on appeal again now. That was 40 years ago, something plus, all of a result of this look-back window.
Wow.
So this young lady, Joy, was able to file 1 day before the expiration of that. And I think people thought they were going to be...
Hey, yo, if you in New York, but I think it's closed. Y'all lucky. Y'all lucky. Y'all, I don't know if more people knew about this look back window. Y'all better check with y'all local municipalities and make sure they ain't doing look back windows. Just saying. You remember when you was 22. Okay.
More. I'll tell you, in the legal community, Stephen A., we were expecting even more people to come forward right before that look back window.
I got to ask this question.
Not you.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how. Listen. Let me be very, very clear.
Yeah.
Anybody guilty of any kind of crime, particularly violating a woman, violating another human being, to throw them under the jail. Please let me be very, very clear about that. I'm just trying to figure out how you could say 32 years ago or 40 years ago this happened, and somehow, some way that can be quote unquote proven in a civil court of law that in Trump's case cost him supposedly over $454 million to be.
The 400, and I know y'all just doing the show. I understand, but that 400 and something $million wasn't just the Eugene Carroll settlement. It was the Eugene Carroll settlement plus the Southern District of New York fraud case fine as well, where he had to go run and get that bond, and then they lowered the bond, and then that night a surety company did the bond for him for $175,000, and then they revoked the bond because they said they didn't properly show Trump's financial statements, and they didn't charge the proper fees on it or whatever. But anyway, that's what all that 400 and something million. It was a combination between the Eugene Carroll thing and his fraud case. But let them continue. I'm gonna shut up. Anyway, I guess you can tell what my day job is. It's in fraud and compliance and anti-money laundering. So I'm gonna be quiet.
Exactly. Yeah. Could obviously cost P. Diddy a boatload of money. How does that work in the eyes of those who don't understand that somehow, some way, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we give you this 1 year window for a look back, and something may have happened in 1988. We coming for you.
Listen, since you're being clear, let me be clear.
Please.
Okay. Let me be very clear. Nobody's saying, Stephen A., that these civil claims 20, 30, 40 years after the fact are not going to have challenges. They're going to have severe challenges. Now, in the Trump claim, listen, 12 people in a box heard the testimony, saw the evidence, and decided they felt that there was liability there. Only those jurors, let's be clear, only those jurors can tell you exactly what they found believable. But as it relates to Mr. Combs, as well as, anybody else here, you've got in 20, 30 years, people get foggy memories. Sometimes people pass away. So your ability, to your point, to prove the viability of your claim becomes more and more difficult with each passing day. Okay, sometimes it's hard to get people to show up and remember things within the year. So the more you add to that, the longer the distance, the more difficult DNA is to gather. All those evidentiary pieces become challenged. However, here's one of the benefits to having a longer time to bring your claim. We have more technological advances. So this is why. Yo,
I'm so sorry. And this is totally off. It's not off the subject. I can just really, you could tell that this lady is a litigator. This lady definitely uses the arts of language for a living. I'm just watching her. The way she heavily articulates and enunciates just about every word is, I don't know why I'm not an English major or any of that stuff, but I'm just fascinated by this.
You have like a cold case file that all of a sudden something you just couldn't prove scientifically 10 years ago, 15 years ago, might be provable today. If there was indeed evidence collected at that time that we can prove the chain of custody was valid and everything, and now all of a sudden you've got an opportunity to prove something scientifically that was not available to you previously.
I'm looking at these cases against P. Diddy because I want to get on to you in a second, but I'm thinking about his son.
Oh, no, let's stay on Puff.
I'm going to get to you in a second, but his son, obviously, we already spoke about that. Usher and some of the things he alluded to seeing when he was a kid, being around P. Diddy. Obviously, Justin Bieber, you've heard his name brought up on many occasions, and being around P. Diddy. This guy, Little Rod, who was a producer for Combs, he filed a suit against P. Diddy. All of these things going up against him. Have you seen anything. I mean, I'm thinking the days of Jeffrey Epstein. We know what happened with him. We know that R. Kelly's in jail for with a 30-year sentence at the very least. We see Harvey Weinstein. We know what happened with him.
Steens.
Is this legitimately along those lines in your estimation, or is it a bit embellished or exaggerated in any way?
Well, I can't speak to if it's embellished or exaggerated, Stephen A. I will say a lot of these facts are looking similar. There's patterns here. And I think when we zoom out, let's talk about it from a culture. I'm going to take the legal hat off for 1 second, put the cultural hat on.
Right,
I think what we're seeing are case after case after case. And we're seeing it that it spans race. We're seeing black men and white men. We're seeing men in, we've certainly seen it in sports. We've seen it in entertainment. We've seen it in finance. So we're seeing across industries, across races. What do these men have in common? They're all extremely wealthy and they all hold a significant amount of power, right? And I think that there were things that were deemed acceptable, things that were commonplace. At a particular time and era that are simply no longer acceptable, Stephen A. Now, we could argue and litigate whether they should have ever been acceptable. Of course, we sitting here as good, reasonable folks would say these things should have never taken place. But we know that they did. We know that there was a time in which we lived in a look the other way culture, in a boys will be boys culture, in a rich people will do what rich people can get away with culture. It seems to be clear, very, very, very clear, that that era is now bygone, and now that the chickens are coming home to roost. And I think when you look at public opinion, Stephen A., I think you've got two primary camps. You have people that say it is what it is, just because, it's kind of the yesterday's price ain't today's price. Yesterday's standard of appropriateness is not today's standard, and, off with their heads. And then you've got another camp that says, well, hey, wait a minute, these things are deplorable to us today. We've evolved as a society. There are things that you couldn't say 10 years ago, 15 years ago on air. You've been in the, the higher echelons of our business for a long time. There are things that you could have said 15, 20 years ago. Can't say it. Can't even think it today. That's right. And people are saying that the retroactive punishment of things just because we've evolved is not fair. There's something unjust about that. So I find that piece of it interesting. How are we to determine what justice looks like in real time as it relates to things retroactively?
Prize picks. I get past prize picks. I want to see those prize picks. I'm glad you sponsored, because why wouldn't you be? We want to get back to what let's get back to what Auntie got to say. What you got to say, Auntie?
By the way, season 3 of that show premieres April 17th. Make sure you don't miss it. How would you, looking at today's society and all the things you just articulated, how do you feel about what's going on today compared to some of the things that you've had to deal with being in this business? Not just you don't just know the law. You're educated from a lawyer's perspective.
All right, I'm gonna go with this a little bit more, because it looks like they're getting off of Puffy now. And her insight on that was fascinating in itself. So I have no idea where they're going from here. So I'm assuming he's about to ask her stuff about what she has going on. So let's see. I'm gonna kick it with her for a little bit longer.
But you've also hosted television shows. Hell, you hosted sports shows, for crying out loud. You hosted me when you were working on Fox News, and I came in as one of your first guests.
Wow.
I mean, you know this business backwards and forwards. And as you see things unfolding in today's society, you alluded to the Me Too movement and how that plays such an integral role.
Right,
how do you feel about the Me Too movement at this particular moment in time? And how do you feel about the things that you've seen transpiring in our society?
It's related.
I think in general, Stephen A., when you've got more accountability than less, it's a good thing. I do think there's such a thing as a pendulum swinging in an overcorrection, particularly in our business. I'm talking about the journalism part. I'm talking about the broadcast part. I think that you want to make space for things that do not protect abusers and wrongdoers and criminals, downright, period. And also, I believe that when you overcorrect to a point of so much political correctness. So I'm not talking about the criminal part. I'm not talking about the violation part. I'm just talking mainly about the rhetoric part. I'm talking about the thing that says we can't even play in the nuance of things conversation-wise or thought exercise-wise. I think you do a disservice to the ability to have broader impact. But this is a very nuanced point I'm making, and I hope it's clear. This is not to protect or make excuses for vile, inappropriate, illegal behavior. But I do welcome enough freedom, just enough freedom, Stephen A., that says that we can sit here, particularly as men and women in conversation as professionals, and give each other enough grace and respect to engage in something that might push the envelope, especially with our two big mouths, and big thoughts and big personalities, and have enough trust in the powers that be, in ourselves as colleagues, to figure that out. I guess I'm speaking specifically. There was, I believe it was Vice President Mike Pence at the time said something about how he wasn't allowed or chose not to even enter rooms with women.
That's right.
You remember this?
Yeah, he said he chose. He wasn't allowed. He chose. He made that decision.
Not allowed. I didn't mean the bosses. I meant his wife. But anyway, okay. I stand corrected.
Every man I know has bosses. That's right. Well, go ahead.
He chose not to. And that's that man's prerogative. But I would hope to think that that's not the standard, that we don't get to a place where men and women can engage. We don't get to a place where black people and white people can engage, where Jews and Gentiles can engage.
But the ability to engage has been compromised severely when you consider the punishment for rhetoric that has infiltrated our society. And that's one of the reasons why you have tens of millions of people. That's an excuse that they're using right now to vote when they look at somebody like a Donald Trump, and they're saying it's a breath of fresh air because the extreme left and the woke culture has taken over our society, much to their chagrin. Whereas you have some people on the left saying you really, really would complain about that and prefer the alternative, which is somebody in their estimation that doesn't really play by the rules and says what he wants to say and will insult whoever he wants to insult. What side do you fall on in that equation?
Well, I'm not a binary person in that way, right, Stephen A? Like that's what I'm rejecting. That's what I'm indicting to your question, right? It's that type of, I think, excuse and overreaction that becomes the alternative. And I think it's a fool's errand to say that, well, they've made it so difficult for anybody to be authentic. The PC police are policing, and so we're going to go with somebody who's so outrageously outside of the norm, so outrageously, one could argue, criminally. Some of that remains to be seen, but some of the verdicts have come in, and that becomes the hero, right? This becomes the kind of anti-hero, if you will, but really becomes the hero to a culture that says, I just think we need to trust people more, right? There are some individuals that you give them an inch, they're going to take 15 miles. Yeah, I'm talking about power and wealth primarily, and they're going to use it to take advantage and abuse. And then there's also many, many, many of us, but I'm really talking about our industry right now too, Stephen A., where we have enough ability, enough moral compass, enough integrity. Let me speak on integrity, right? To say that we can have this back and forth. I do it all the time with a mutual friend of ours, Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club.
Absolutely.
You see it, people see it in real time.
No question.
All the time.
Yeah. That's right.
And we can disagree, and it can be vehement, and then we shake hands and we move on with respect and integrity. And I think more people need to be given the opportunity to do just that.
Disagreeing without being disagreeable, basically. I think former President Barack Obama said that best, even though some would argue that during that administration, that's not what we were seeing from both sides of the aisle. Nevertheless, we'll move on from there and say this. Nevertheless, we'll move on and say this. As I sit here listening to you, before you came in studio, I was discussing former President Donald Trump and staying with politics for a second here, because obviously he switched his position. Initially, that he was a supporter of the national ban to some degree on abortion, obviously since the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Now he's saying that, you know what, it's basically states' rights. And the belief is that the GOP was pressing him, because if you take that hard line in the sand, in the sand, and put and advocate for a national ban against abortion, you're not going to get a lot of females voting for you, and you could definitely jeopardize winning this election. He saw that. that forest from those trees, and he's shifted his position to some degree. What did you make of that?
It's politics,
Yeah.
you know, and listen, I don't even say that with condemnation.
Yeah.
I think lions are lions, snakes are snakes, politicians are politicians, meaning that they're going to evaluate, exactly as you just said, Stephen A., what is favorable for the electorate at that time. Now, this is a candidate, the nominee, presumptive nominee for the Republican Party, that not 6 months ago was bragging very publicly, very brazenly about being the sole creditor for overturning Roe v. Wade.
That's right.
And listen, there is a part of that party's base that celebrates and applauds that, and that makes him more enduring to him, right? More endearing, rather. Then we got to look at these numbers. Some pollsters probably set this man down and said, Mr. President,
You're winning in 6 of the 7 polls. Don't blow it.
Yeah, correct. And then you've got a Biden administration who's looking for a re-election, and everything is saying, in fact, one of the critiques is running on women's reproductive rights and Roe v. Wade being overturned enough, because that is the winning issue for the current president. Let's be very clear. Okay, every time a referendum on Roe v. Wade or women's right to access healthy, safe abortions is on the ballot, it is a winning issue for Democrats, period. And so the GOP and Trump's camp is seeing that and saying we cannot allow for this president to potentially run right back into the White House on this single issue. So,
I'm of the mindset that, basically it's just an indication that women are going to decide this election. They talk about, he could increase the black vote in terms of the support that he receives from the black community by anywhere from 2 to 4%, and that could swing the pendulum. They talk about, the white individuals that was particularly white males who will support him. I think it's going to come down to the women because of the Roe v. Wade situation. I think that's why he switched this position. My attitude is this is going to determine potentially the election for him. Do you find that to be the case?
I think that's right. And I think if we want to, I'll name it more specifically, I think we're talking about white women.
Yes.
Because we're talking about black women who are going to support the Democratic nominee 98%, as we always have. And there's conversation around that. Putting that on the side for a second, we're talking about white women. We're talking about the pink pussy hat women who, many of them were aghast in 2016 when Trump took office. And now they're being asked to reconcile, what are you going to do? Like this is the moment of action. We don't want the tears the day after.
Right.
Where are you going to stand and show up in this moment going into November and this election? And I'll finalize it with this, Stephen A. It's interesting because a lot of people in the Democratic side of things have condemned some white women for voting for Trump the first 2 times. And it's this notion of it's a betrayal of the interest of women. How could you vote against your interests? I would say fall back. I think you need to really look at and honestly examine what are the interests of certain white women in this nation when it comes to the electorate, because you've got a vast difference, Stephen A., of what we call the economically and socially elite white women, who many of whom feel that they're going to be all right, their children, their progeny will be all right economically and otherwise, with or without a patriarchy, because they're going to school, they're making money, they're bosses, they're winning. Then you've got another very significant number of white women that do not feel that way, that feel as if their best chance for survival for themselves, for their children to go to good schools, for themselves to live good lifestyles and safe neighborhoods is fundamentally dependent on white male patriarchy and male patriarchy in general surviving to live another day. And so when you condemn those women and say, shame on you for voting against your interests, you're missing it. You're missing it. These women are not voting against their interests. So it will be interesting to me. That's who I'm watching specifically. That's who the pendulum will swing on. If the vote is, if this election, Stephen A., comes down to a particular demographic, I'm looking at these or undereducated white women, because they will tell the tale.
Transitioning.
Wow. And I just let that just spiral way off, because I started getting interested in it. Of course, we were originally on with Stephen A. and Eboni K as they were discussing the details with the P. Diddy Saga. And of course, she had a lot of professional expertise, as well as some proximity by being associated with Revolt TV back in the day. So of course, that was why we were sitting down and checking out Stephen A. and Miss Williams. But she she just went off into a lot of other things, politically speaking, and women's rights and things of that nature. It's pretty interesting. But man, y'all night owls, West Coasters, value viewers, thank you so much for stopping by this struggle stream. Thank you for enduring the struggle. We're gonna be here 3 nights a week, all right, at midnight, updating on updating on recent videos and shorts I may have posted for the day, as well as always covering some Diddy updates, because this is a saga that's not going anywhere. And hopefully we're gonna have clips from more professionals like Eboni K Williams speaking on the developments with the Diddy Saga, because I don't want to just talk about it like gossip style. I want to actually try to bring some kind of nuance to the conversation, particularly like actual real details on what's going on legally. So anyway, I appreciate you guys for stopping by. If you like the video or liked any aspects of it, or like me struggling, hit that like button and share it with like-minded individuals that might find this interesting. I appreciate you guys, man. Until next time, peace and stay informed.